Before your dog came, there was a space in you didn't even have the words for. It felt like a small, quiet room missing its light. Then, one afternoon, maybe while you were folding laundry, or in the middle of a bad day, or simply stepping out onto the porch, their eyes found yours. Something shifted. It was sudden and gentle at the same time. That moment matters. Because the truth I want to tell you now is this: God put a dog in your life. That meeting was not random. It was meant to teach you, to steady you, to grieve with you, and to love you in ways you might not have expected. If a dog has ever changed your life, hit subscribe and later tell that story in the comments. There are thousands of us who know what that look feels like. People across time and across continents have long noticed that dogs stand at thresholds. The ancient Egyptians pictured Anubis, shapely, watchful, guiding souls at the gates between worlds. Native American stories often imagine the dog as a companion on the journey, a guide who knows the trails between here and there. Celtic lore remembers dogs as guardians of liminal places, animals who can move between the familiar and the unknown. In early Christian art, a dog sometimes sits at the feet of saints as a symbol of loyalty and watchfulness. These images aren't one religion's truth. They are a human pattern. We look to dogs when we're standing on the edge of something we cannot wholly name. This isn't a claim that dogs are divine. It's simply a human recognition that their presence has weight. They seem to belong at moments when we need to cross, from grief to healing, from loneliness to companionship, from fear to courage. Look closely at what a dog offers you, and you'll see how practical and spiritual those gifts are. Unconditional love. Think about coming home after a day when you felt like you'd failed or like the world had forgotten you. Your dog meets you at the door with the same joy they had the first day you brought them home. They don't measure your worth by your productivity, your mistakes, or your success. They love you without calculation. In that simple, unearned affection, there is a mirror of something deeper, a reminder that you are beloved not for what you do, but for who you are. When a dog leans into your knee, when their head finds the hollow of your arm, they are teaching a small, persistent theology. Love can be given without conditions. Think of instant forgiveness. There's a scene we all know. You scold, you say the wrong word, you spill coffee on the rug. Then your dog cocks their head, their tail begins to beat, and before you can finish your apology, they're back on your lap as if nothing has been lost. Dogs don't keep score. They don't rehearse grievances. They show us how to drop the ledger and return to the work of loving. Ask yourself, when was the last time someone forgave you with such speed and wholeheartedness? If we learned to forgive like that, even a little, we would carry lighter hearts, faithful waiting. If loyalty had a story written in flesh, it would be the tale of Hachiko, the Akita who waited for his master at the Shibuya station in Tokyo long after the man died. Hachiko returned every day for nearly a decade, faithful to a routine born of love. That image moves us because it points to a loyalty that goes beyond utility. A dog's waiting is often not about obligation. It is about devotion. When you think about the times you came home late, when you doubted whether anyone would notice you had gone, someone was most likely there, ears up, ready, reminding you that you are expected, wanted, remembered. Presence. There are nights when pain wakes you, or mornings when your plans collapse before coffee. In the small, dark hours, a dog will simply be there, not offering answers, not fixing problems, but lying against your leg, keeping watch. They teach a discipline we're losing, the practice of being fully present with another being. Presence is the antidote to a frantic life. When a dog's breathing slows against your hand, it pulls you back into the body and out of the anxious future or the haunted past. To learn, by imitation, how to be present, that is a spiritual formation. These are the everyday sacraments of a life with a dog. Touch, scent, rhythm, and the gentle insistence to live now. And science, cautiously, has something to say about this. When you pet a dog, your body responds. Studies show levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, tend to drop. Oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone, rises. Heart rate and blood pressure often calm. Hospitals, courts, and veterans' centers have seen measurable benefits when therapy dogs are present. Calmer patients, reduced anxiety, people more willing to open up in the presence of a canine companion. That evidence doesn't prove spiritual truth, and it doesn't mean every dog heals every wound. But it does show that the body recognizes what the heart already knows. There is a medicine in the touch and company of a dog. So why this dog? Why this timing? Here is where the theological framing matters. I am not offering a formula. I'm offering a pastoral possibility. Consider that God, in the quiet work of providence, arranges meetings. God is the one who ordains moments of comfort, teachers and teachers in disguise. What if this dog entered your life because God saw a part of you that needed steadying? What if the timing, the very day you were too tired to fight, the week after your worst news, the season you were learning to be alone, was a kind of kindness from above? Some people call this a soul contract, the notion that certain meetings are prearranged to teach, test, or tend. Others simply call it providence. Both ways try to say the same thing, that we do not always wander alone, and that some companions are placed in our path for reasons that ultimately concern our flourishing. Say this gently. We cannot prove every meeting was orchestrated by God, but we can allow ourselves to be shaped by the conviction that God cares enough to send small, faithful teachers in the form of warm bodies with wagging tails. Remember the St. Bernards in alpine lore, their barrels of supplies and rescue histories. They remind us that dogs often come as ministry agents, rescuers, partners in care, unexpected ministers in the midst of disaster or despair. These examples help us see the variety of ways God might use a creature to bring comfort or deliverance without turning the creature into something divine. What does that mean for you in practical terms? Let me name the lessons a dog is most likely teaching you right now. First, responsibility. Feeding, walking, vet visits. These simple acts of care ground you in routine and teach you to put another's needs above your convenience. It's a small way of practicing stewardship and fidelity. Second, patience. Training takes time. Habits change slowly. A dog who chews the wrong thing or refuses to learn a new command invites you to slow down. Patience practiced with a dog turns outward. We become more patient with friends, with ourselves, with life's unfolding. Third, being loved without performance. If you've grown up believing worth must be earned, a dog offers a theological correction. Their devotion tells you plainly, you do not have to perform to be loved. Fourth, humility. Dogs are honest. They greet you with whatever they have, not with pretense. When you learn to meet them on that ground, you practice simplicity, an antidote to pride. Fifth, grief training. Perhaps the most tender lesson of all is how to love through loss. Because love with a dog often ends in absence, and that absence teaches us how to hold grief, how to let sorrow refine us without breaking us. We build the muscle of mourning. There is a danger here. We must not minimize the realness of your pain. When a dog dies, the silence they leave is vast. The empty food bowl, the vacant corner by the couch, the missing rhythm of footsteps, become a kind of ache that cannot be fitted into a neat platitude. Grief is not something to be rushed. It has seasons, and it deserves space. If you have lost a dog, notice what the absence does to you. It might feel like the house has shrunk, or it might be a presence so large that it presses at the edges of your days. That's normal. Love leaves an imprint. Your grief is not a sign of weakness. It is proof of how fully you loved. And that love matters. It shaped you. It trained your heart to be faithful. It taught you how to care. Even when their body is gone, the lessons remain. You will remember how they lay their head on your lap, the sound of their breathing in the night, the way they tilted their head when you spoke. Those memories are not mere echoes. They are threads woven into who you are. For a moment, imagine the thin, luminous line that runs between life and loss. It is not straight. It is braided with laughter, with scraped knees, with late-night walks, with vet visits, and long afternoons of sun. That braid becomes part of you. It shapes how you love the next being who comes across your threshold. There is also a deeply practical way to tend the ache. Make a ritual. Light a candle on the evening you said goodbye. Create a small album of photos. Plant something in the yard. Tell the story of your dog aloud to someone who will listen. Names matter. Stories matter. They keep the presence alive in memory and in gratitude. And if you are in the season before loss, if your dog is warm and here now, let me be clear about one urgent thing. Go be with them. Put down the phone. Sit on the floor. Let their rhythm slow yours. In the end, what matters is not the number of likes on a post, but the soft weight of a warm head on your hand. There will be people who will tell you to get over it when grief comes. Ignore them. The love you gave and received matters deeply. It is a form of holy labor. In that love, you practiced being present, being faithful, being tender. Those are the spiritual fruits that do not vanish with a heartbeat. Return now to the image at the start. The dog's eyes catching yours in some unexpected hour. See it again, and know this. God put that dog in your life to teach you things you would otherwise learn more slowly. Or perhaps never at all. To be a teacher in patience, a tutor in presence, a living sermon on unconditional love. Not to make promises about miracles, not to guarantee health or wealth, but to invite you into a more human way of living. Slower, truer, kinder. If you sometimes feel unlovable, your dog's body will say otherwise. If you are learning to grieve, your dog will teach you how to carry loss without hardening. If you are tempted to measure your value by performance, their steady company will interrogate that lie with a wag of the tail. In all these small ways, God uses the ordinary to do the extraordinary work of shaping a soul. Before we close, let me tell you one last thing about Hachiko, and then be quiet with you for a moment. Hachiko's story is not simply about a dog waiting at a station. It's about what loyalty looks like when translated into everyday acts. People gathered around Hachiko's vigil because they saw in his waiting the witness of fidelity. That witness pointed people toward their better angels. When we live in the presence of a faithful animal, other people notice. You become the keeper of that witness too. So go back to your home and look at that small life there. Speak their name. Scratch behind the ear. Notice the ordinary holiness of the day. If you live here, breathing, changing, learning, you are being taught to love. And that is no small thing. If this moved you, subscribe to join a community that understands the sacredness of these small, faithful lives. Share your story in the comments so others can be comforted, and then go be with your dog now. Because in their company, God has given you a gift. A presence that teaches you how to be human, how to bear sorrow, and how to love without calculation.